Hi, everybody. It's 1 o'clock, so we want to get started on the webinar. Welcome to Development, Mission, and Giving at Christmas. We're really pleased that you're joining us today. Presenting today will be myself, Karen Bookma, and
Anna Muir.
Anna and I do the communications work at PWS&D, and we're really pleased to be sharing with you today about the work of PWS&D and ways you can talk about and promote generosity for the work of PWS&D at this time of year. During the season of Christmas, many Canadians, and we know most of the people sitting in church pews across the country, are compassionately responding to share what they have with those who have far less. Today we'll be talking about practical ways at this very busy time of year to talk about and encourage generosity to address the root causes of poverty and empower vulnerable communities for the long term. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. Computers and phones are muted during the webinar. So I see some people here are having a difficult time hearing things. Can people see the screen and hear what's going on? Okay, hopefully we're good. Just send a message over the chat. Use the chat function if you have any questions or if you have any issues in terms of connecting. Okay, everyone should be able to hear at this point. And just also to note, we are recording the webinar as well so that people can access it later and you can access it later to get any of the information that we talk about. If you do have any questions that come up during the course of the webinar, just type them in the chat box that you see on your screen and we'll try to respond to them as they come up or at the end when we also will have a space for questions and comments. No, Jean, you won't be able to see us. You'll be seeing the presentation on the screen. Okay, so just a brief intro to what PWS&D is. We are the International Development and Relief Agency of the Presbyterian Church in Canada. For over 70 years, our church has been actively working to serve marginalized and vulnerable people around the world. While the global context has changed significantly since PWS&D was first formed, what has not changed is our commitment to Christ's message of love through caring, sharing, and service to others. Inspired by God's promise of abundant life, we are working to break cycles of poverty and create new futures of hope and opportunity for some of the world's most vulnerable people. In 2017, generous Presbyterian support from across the country allowed PWS&D to support 56 projects in 24 countries around the world. You can learn more about the ongoing work of PWS&D through our website, which is werespond.ca, or by following us on social media, and you will see more about that as we go along.
Thanks, Karen. This is Anna here, and I'm going to start talking about highlighting PWS&D during the Christmas season and Advent. So Advent is a time of anticipation and joy, but we also understand that it's one of the busiest times during the church year and requires a great deal of work to prepare for each service. One way we try to make this process easier is by offering our PWS&D Advent liturgies. These liturgies show how we're working towards a sustainable, compassionate, and just world as an expression of the hope, peace, joy, and love of Christ. With stories of transformation from our projects found on the back of these liturgies, it's an easy way to talk about PWS&D and illustrate our long-term impact in the fight against poverty, hunger, and injustice at Christmas time. This year's liturgies are written by the Reverend Robert J. Murray of Pinawa Christian Fellowship in Manitoba. So to place an order for these liturgies, to order packages, you can give us a call here at the National Office, 1-800-619-7301, or use the online order form. All of this can be found at this web address, werespond.ca/advent-2018-liturgies. And in addition to these bulletin-sized liturgies, we also offer large print versions and PowerPoint versions, which are available for download, also found at this web address. And then I'll show you how to get there. So if you go to our homepage, the menu at the top, there's resources. And if you click that drop-down menu, there's worship resources. And then that'll bring you here. And just sort of in the middle there's Advent resources. And you'll click on that. And that'll bring you to this page. And the top result is Advent 2018 liturgies. So you'll click there. And then it brings you to this page, the Advent 2018 liturgies page. And if you scroll down, there's a little bit of information about them, the ordering information, and the downloads that are available that I just spoke about.
So during Christmas, we are reminded that with Jesus' birth, God came to bring abundant life to all creation. As people of faith, we are called to follow Jesus' example to feed the hungry, heal the sick, and protect the vulnerable. At this special time of year, we also generally are feeling incredibly blessed by the people around us, and we want to pass that blessing on to so many other people. What this can often do is lead to questions about how we can do this most effectively. What are the best ways for us to engage with and support those in need? How do we channel our desire to give in the most appropriate and effective ways? What Anna and I are hoping to share with you today is some of the resources that are available from PWS&D and the Presbyterian Church to help channel generosity to long-term community development and emergency relief responses at this time of year. So one of the primary ways, and one of the ways that's probably best known by people within congregations, is the Gifts of Change catalog. So on this slide, you see the newest version of the Gifts of Change catalog. For people who receive the Presbyterian Connection newspaper, this catalog will be included in the issue that you get at the beginning of December. It will be available then. The catalog provides practical, tangible gift examples to help people gain a greater understanding about what their gift will support. It really helps people make the connection between a monetary figure and a tangible gift piece. Gifts bought through the Gifts of Change catalog help our partners carry out the overall goals of the programs PWS&D undertakes. Not only is giving a gift from the catalog unique, but you also know and can be sure that your gifts will be used to carry out life-changing programs that are responding to the needs of people affected by poverty, hunger, natural disasters, and conflict. Encouraging giving through the Gifts of Change catalog allows both the giver and the recipient to feel good that a gift made on their behalf will ultimately help improve the life of someone in another country. I'm going to talk a little bit about some ways that some congregations or groups have tried to make giving from the gift catalog a little bit more tangible. But before that, I just want to show you where you can find the gift catalog on our website. So this is just an interior picture from the catalog. You can see it's broken up by sectors and there are different financial amounts. From our website, which is werespond.ca or presbyterian.ca/PWSD, from our homepage, there is a banner at the very top of the homepage for the Gifts of Change catalog. And if you click on that, you will be brought to this page. You see the blue text on this page, those are all active links. So if you click on any of those links, you're brought to another page. So for example, on this one, if you click on Sowing the Seeds of Food Security, you're brought to this giving page. And this lists all of the items that are available in the gift catalog as it relates to food security projects. If you see along the top of the screen where there are numerous tabs, if you click on the tab that says PWS&D, you will be brought to this page, which lists all of the different gifts that are featured in PWS&D's gift catalog. I'm going to go back here for a moment just to talk about some of the tangible ways that congregations have engaged with this. One way is through the idea of a giving tree. A giving tree provides congregations a physical way to manifest the gifts from the gift catalog. I know of a congregation that created small paper ornaments that highlighted different gift amounts and put them on their congregational Christmas tree. Then people could look through the different gift ornaments on the tree, pick the one that they wanted to give, and then they made that gift. What that also did was allow the congregation to add up the impact that each of the individual gifts had together so that they could talk about what their congregation as a whole supported. And it was a way to really engage a larger group in the congregation to make gifts together. Another congregation chose, as their Advent project, chose a larger sized financial gift from the Gifts of Change catalog and created a puzzle. We helped them source a photo from the project they were going to support. They created a puzzle, and each of the pieces of the puzzle were for a different financial amount that would support the overall goal of the project. And as people sponsored those amounts, they created the bigger puzzle piece, the bigger puzzle, until finally when the gift was fully funded, they saw the fully realized picture. And it was a way for people to engage on an ongoing basis in seeing the progress that the congregation was making. The additional piece about tangibility is that this can be a really fun learning activities for families to do together. I know that I've looked through the gift catalog before with my nieces and nephews and talked about the difference that a goat or a chicken can make in the life of someone overseas. It's a way for them to learn a little bit about the difference that they can make and also feel attached to the gift that's being made. Gift cards are also available to go with any of the gifts from the Gifts of Change catalog. We can send these gift cards for you. If you contact the office, we can either send you cards that you can send out yourself, or we can send the cards for you, and you just need to let us know. As with the Advent liturgies, you can order Gifts of Change catalogs by contacting us at the office, either by phone, or you can do it online in order to get copies for your congregation.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Advent Challenge. The Advent Challenge was developed as a further way to get involved with PWS&D during the Advent season. It encourages you, your congregation, or whoever to do Advent differently, to share hope, peace, joy, and love with those in need at home and around the world. The Advent Challenge accompanies PWS&D's Advent liturgies. Because so many people are already ordering the Advent liturgies, we wanted to make this component available to accompany it. This is how the Advent Challenge works. Each week we encourage you to read the story on the back of PWS&D's Advent liturgies, learn about the particular project mentioned in the story, complete weekly challenges, and then there's a giving component to share the gifts of either hope, peace, joy, and love that enable abundant life. There's a resource that takes you through all these steps for each week of Advent, and it can be found online at werespond.ca/adventchallenge. So that's the web address there, and I'll just take you through how to get there. So from our homepage there, it's Get Involved, the drop-down menu, and you would select Advent Challenge. And then there's the page there, and then the downloads down there, there's the Advent Challenge 2018 instructions. And this is an excerpt from those instructions. So this is for the first week of Advent, Hope. And the story on the back of the liturgy for the first week in Advent is about a woman named Beatriz from Guatemala who's receiving support from PWS&D to build her leadership skills, and that's been benefiting her community. So there's the first step of the Advent Challenge there, to read the story, and then there's a little paragraph about how PWS&D is empowering marginalized women to claim their rights and become leaders and achieve economic independence. Then the second step would be the challenge. And the challenge part of the Advent Challenge is usually a local activity or initiative. So for this one, recognizing that women in Canada also face barriers to a life of safety, self-determination, and respect, it challenges you to volunteer your time at a local women's shelter. And so just to give you an example of a challenge from another week in Advent, for Joy, the story is about a woman from Malawi who's accessing maternal health care. And the challenge for that asks you to get together with friends, family, or members of your congregation to map out a safe 10-kilometer route and to walk that route together to sort of simulate and get a better understanding of the challenges women face going long distances in order to access appropriate maternal health care. And then the third step of the Advent challenge there is a fundraising challenge, a giving component. And for Hope, it's to give the gift of leadership. And then there's always a gift suggestion there. So that's $200, trains a woman in advocacy and empowers political participation. And that comes from the Gifts of Change catalog, and it will support the project that this whole story is about. And the beauty of the Advent challenge is that it's all about taking the resource and making it something that will work for you. So someone can do this on their own or with friends or family, or it can be done by a youth group, a Sunday school class, or an entire congregation can get together and do it. And you don't need to feel obligated to do every week of the challenge. You'd still be doing the Advent challenge if you just do the activities for 1 week, or if you just choose to do the local weekly challenges, or you could opt to just do the fundraising components. So if you're looking for a way to organize a mission project for the Advent season, selecting something from this resource is a great place to start. And there's also a text version of the instructions for the Advent challenge and PowerPoint slides that you might want to use to potentially project in the sanctuary or your congregation. And you can download these items at werespond.ca/advent-challenge, that address that I showed before. But if you want anything printed and mailed to you that you've seen, such as this resource here, you can let us know and we'll be happy to send it to you. So we also wanted to talk about our social media channels, and this feels like a good place to fit that in. So if you're not already, please like and follow PWS&D on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and there's the information there where you can find us. And we put this here because there's a social media component to the Advent Challenge. We're asking people to share how they're doing Advent differently by sharing their Advent Challenge stories on social media. So you can take a photo of yourself doing a challenge or a fundraiser, write a post about it, and make sure that you tag us in your post and use the hashtag AdventChallenge18. And you can also send us your Advent Challenge stories or photos and we'll share them online. And you can even, if you don't have photos or stories, you could just get in touch with us, let us know that you did the Advent Challenge, and share any feedback if you'd like to.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Christmas gift boxes, or shoe boxes as they're often known as. For many congregations, Christmas shoebox projects are a fairly central part of their Advent calendar every year. This type of project can be deeply significant for those who participate, as well as providing a tangible giving opportunity to model generosity to children. Ultimately, it's important for congregations to discern wisely about participating in a project like this. PWS&D and the PCC, we often get asked questions here about why we don't do something like a shoebox project. Our response is multifold, and a number of issues are addressed in the resource I'm going to be talking about a little bit here. But we believe that in the majority of instances, resources are best spent in the communities where we work, with community members in consultation with local partners, making the decisions about their priorities and needs. Additionally, factoring in high costs of storage and overseas transportation, we'd like to think about where resources can be used most effectively and whether or not those resources are better used at the field level. Given all of that, the PCC has developed a new resource, which you see the front page of pictured here, called Christmas Gift Boxes, a Good Idea for Children Around the World. It's been developed by the PCC and is available online at the web address that you see here, presbyterian.ca/TCPAC. This resource was also sent to all congregations in the September PCPAC mailing, so it should be available in your church office as a resource that was sent out. What the resource does is encourage congregations to think through some questions when deciding whether or not to participate in a Christmas gift box program. Some of these questions include things like, are the gifts culturally appropriate? Who decides which children get a box and which don't? What criteria are used? And is it acceptable that some children won't get a gift? Another thing to think about is, what is the ultimate goal of the project? Does it invite people who participate in Canada to learn more about or understand the global context that the children receiving the boxes live in? Are participants in Canada learning even as they are participating? And then thinking about whether or not a shoebox project like this is part of a larger picture of support that might be happening for long-term development and poverty eradication. So the resource invites you to ask some of these questions as you discern whether or not to participate in a program like this, but then offer some really tangible alternative options to think about, partly because one of the things that people appreciate about a shoebox program is the tangibility piece and the modeling piece. So the resource actually encourages still some of those tangible alternatives, but at a much more local level. So it includes things like creating toiletry kits for people who might need them, or fun packs for refugee kids or kids that might be in shelters and won't have access to gifts otherwise. As I said, many of the suggestions are tied to local options for giving, but also many of the suggestions are much more about the idea of giving time rather than material goods. The resource also lists some Presbyterian alternatives to think about, which we've talked about here, including the Gifts of Change catalog, options for Sunday schools, and to learn more about and engage in the mission and ministry of the Presbyterian Church in Canada.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our webinar. So this would be the time, if you have any further questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you. Okay, you can ask questions later too.
Feel free to ask questions now or even as we keep talking, or please know that you can be in touch with Anna and I if you have more comments.
Karen, it's
yes.
Mark Askin asking a question.
Sure.
The last resources, I did listen to the resource, the information you gave about shoebox campaigns. Where did you say that was available? I missed that part.
Yeah, you can find it at presbyterian.ca/PCPAK.
Right.
It's there as a download, or if you want it, you see our emails here too, and we can send it to you that way.
No, if it's available as a download, that's fine. Thanks.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for being part of our first webinar. We hope this was useful for you. So that's us on the slide there. So you can reach out to us with any questions, comments, feedback, or requests for materials or anything else you might need. This webinar has been recorded, and the recording will be available online shortly at werespond.ca/webinars. So our next webinar will be Thursday, January 10th at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it will be hosted by the Reverend Dr. Sarah Travis. She's a former member of PWS&D's committee, and currently she's the minister of the chapel and adjunct faculty, Knox College, and interim director of the Doctor of Ministry program at the Toronto School of Theology. She'll be talking about PWS&D Sunday, which will be Sunday, February 3rd, and she'll have tips and tools and advice for celebrating PWS&D Sunday in your congregation or community. So be sure to check back at werespond.ca/webinars for information and to sign up for that. And also, if you're not already, please subscribe to our monthly e-newsletter, which will have information about upcoming webinars and other news and updates from PWS&D. So you can contact either one of us about subscribing to that. And finally, I just want to take a moment to mention our Champions Network. So a PWS&D champion is a volunteer who stays informed about PWS&D's projects and partners, promotes the work of PWS&D, and encourages others to get involved. So if you'd like to be a champion or you know someone who might be interested, please direct them to us to contact us, or they can sign up and learn more at werespond.ca/be-a-champion.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And as Anna said, the recording will be available online shortly. Thank you.